In Phoenix, under a sun that melts asphalt, a 15-year-old black girl fixed an old lady's car. For free, her boss saw it, screamed, humiliated her, and fired her on the spot. People laughed. She walked away with nothing, but what no one knew was this. The old lady was not who they thought, and what happened next would change a city forever. Phoenix wasn't just hot that afternoon. It looked like the air itself was burning. Cars crawled like tired insects. The sky shimmered. Even the wind felt dry enough to crack skin. At a small auto shop on the edge of town, a girl in a faded work shirt bent over an engine. Her name was Maya Jackson, only 15, yet moving with the confidence of a seasoned mechanic. Grease streaked her cheeks. Strands of curly hair escaped her bandana. Her classmates were at the mall. Maya was rebuilding engines, not because she loved cars, though she did, but because life had left her no space to be a child anymore. Maya's hands were small but steady, hands that rarely shook even during hard jobs. They were the hands people used to compliment. "You got your daddy's hands," neighbors would say, and they were right. Her father, Marcus Jackson, was once the heartbeat of the neighborhood, the guy who fixed brakes at midnight, patched old tires for single moms, and never charged the elderly when they couldn't afford it. He didn't believe in turning people away. He used to tell her, "Engines are just metal problems, but people are made of fragile things. If you can fix both, do it." Those words stayed inside her ribs like a second heart. Then fate took Marcus away too early. A workshop accident, a slipped jack, a crushing sound she would never forget. And from that day forward, Maya's childhood ended. Bills stacked like ugly gray towers on the kitchen table, medication receipts, rent reminders, past due notices. Her mother, Sarah, once bright and strong, now moved slowly. Pain wrapped around her bones like vines. She tried to hide her struggles, but sick eyes don't lie. So Maya did the only thing she could. She stepped into her father's shoes. Shoes too big, but she walked anyway. Before school, after school, weekends, she worked. The boss of the auto shop, Mr. Henderson, hired her because she was cheap labor and didn't complain. He never smiled at her. He never saw her story. He only saw hands that worked fast. Late afternoon, the light was turning golden. A worn-out 1969 Cadillac DeVille wobbled into the shop like it was taking its last breath. Smoke puffed from the hood. The engine rattled like bones in a tin can. Behind the steering wheel sat an elderly woman, thin, pale, wrapped in a coat, too warm for the desert. Her hair was silver, combed neatly. Pride was woven into the way she held her chin. She stepped out slowly, clutching a leather handbag like it contained her entire world. "Excuse me, could someone please look at my car?" Her voice trembled. Not weak, just tired from carrying many years. The mechanics nearby looked at each other and shrugged. Then Maya walked toward her. Maya smiled, a shy but genuine smile. "Yes, ma'am. What seems to be the problem?" The old woman's fingers trembled. "It keeps stopping. I'm afraid it might fail on the highway. I need to get home, but I don't have much money." She said that last part quietly, almost apologetically, as if needing help was a crime. Maya nodded. She didn't see no money. She saw fear, the same fear that lived in her mother's eyes when medicine ran out. "It's all right," Maya said softly. "Let me take a look." The woman watched her with a look that held surprise, and something else Maya couldn't name yet. The Cadillac's hood opened like a jaw. Inside, chaos lived. Cracked belt, fouled plugs, filthy filters, leaking oil. The car didn't need a small fix. It needed rescue. Another mechanic muttered, "Waste of time. Scrap it." But Maya didn't walk away. She rolled up her sleeves and dove in. The sun hammered her neck. Tools burned to the touch. Sweat crawled into her eyes and stung. Her muscles trembled, but she kept going. One bolt at a time. One hose at a time. One stubborn piece of machinery at a time. This wasn't just repair work. It was refusal. refusal to let someone leave unsafe. Maya didn't know this woman. She didn't owe her anything, but kindness wasn't a business transaction to her. It was instinct. She remembered nights with her father, him coming home exhausted, hands cut, but smiling because he helped someone who couldn't pay. She remembered his words, "If money is the only thing that makes you move, then your heart is broken, not the engine." So she worked, not for a paycheck, but because it was the right thing to do. Minutes turned to hours. The sun slid lower, turning the sky orange like burning copper. The engine slowly regained life, coughing, then smoothing, shaking, then settling. Maya tightened the final bolt and exhaled. "Try it now," she said. The elderly woman turned the key. The V8 roared. Smooth, deep, alive again. The old woman gasped, covering her mouth, eyes flooding instantly. She reached for her purse. "How much do I owe you, dear?" Maya wiped her hands on her shirt and shook her head. "You don't owe me anything." Silence fell between them. The world always expects a price. Kindness without a bill feels unreal. The woman took Maya's hands and squeezed them. "You're a blessing," she whispered. "A rare one." Maya just smiled. She didn't realize her life had just changed forever. The office door flew open so hard it hit the wall. Mr. Henderson stormed toward them, red face, veins bulging, anger marching in his footsteps. He had been watching, and he was not moved by kindness. He was moved by profit. "What do you think you're doing?" he shouted. The shop fell silent. Tools froze midair. Heads turned. Maya opened her mouth, but the words stuck in her throat. Henderson didn't lower his voice. He raised it. "You worked for free? Are you out of your mind? Do you think this is a charity?" Customers stared. Mechanics stared. Even the old woman flinched. He jabbed a finger toward Maya. "You cost me money. You disobeyed orders. You're done here." The words cut through her like blades. She swallowed hard. "Sir, she needed help. The car. I don't care," he roared. "You're fired. Right now. Get out." A few people snickered. No one stood up for her. The old woman tried to speak. "Please, don't do this." Henderson snapped at her. "Stay out of it." Maya didn't scream. She didn't beg. She simply gathered her worn toolbox, her father's toolbox, and held it to her chest like something sacred. The old woman's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, child." Maya forced a smile that hurt to wear. "It's all right, ma'am. Please drive safe." She stepped outside into the evening heat, tears finally spilling, not from losing the job, but from the cruelty of it all. Sometimes the world punishes you for doing the right thing. The next days were heavy. She knocked on shop doors. Too young, too inexperienced, too not what we're looking for. Some people laughed at the idea of a girl mechanic. Others refused to even interview her. At home, she hid the truth from her mother. She smiled through fear. At night, she cried quietly into her pillow so her mother wouldn't hear. But she did not regret helping the old woman. Not once. On the 7th day, the phone rang. "Is this Maya Jackson?" a calm voice asked. "Yes. A Mrs. Eleanor Vance would like to meet you. Transportation will be provided." The name felt familiar, but faint. She didn't know what awaited her. Judgment, opportunity, or nothing at all. But she went, because sometimes life only knocks once. The car stopped before a massive building of glass and light, a luxury auto center, clean floors, chrome shining like mirrors, dozens of high-end cars lined up like royalty. Above the entrance were glowing letters, "Jackson Auto Performance and Care." Her breath caught, her last name, on a building she had never seen. Inside, standing straight and dignified, was the same elderly woman from the Cadillac. But now she looked different, graceful, confident, no trembling hands, her coat replaced with an elegant suit. "I never thanked you properly," she said, smiling. Maya blinked. "I just fixed your car." The woman shook her head gently. "No, you fixed something far more important. You showed me your heart." Then she revealed the truth. She wasn't poor. She wasn't desperate for money. She was Eleanor Vance, multimillionaire investor, owner of the building they stood in, and she had been quietly visiting repair shops, looking not for talent, but for character. Eleanor continued, "I pretended to be unable to pay on purpose. Most people turned me away. They only saw money, but you saw a human being." Maya stood frozen. Eleanor placed an envelope in her hands. Inside were legal documents, business registration, partnership agreement, funding, enough to transform her life. "I am giving you this auto center," Eleanor said softly, "because the world needs leaders like you, people who help without counting the cost." Maya's voice broke. "But why me?" "Because you remind me of someone I loved very much," Eleanor whispered, eyes growing distant. "My husband was just like you." Maya's mother received full medical care. The sign outside was updated, owned and led by Maya Jackson. Former workers who had been rejected elsewhere found jobs here. Single parents, veterans, young trainees, people who just needed someone to believe in them. Maya built more than a repair shop. She built a sanctuary for second chances. Months later, Mr. Henderson stood outside, staring at the building carrying her name. Not angry, just stunned. He walked in slowly, almost humbled, and said, "I was wrong about you." Maya didn't mock him. She didn't remind him of his cruelty. She simply replied, "I hope from now on you treat people better," because success hadn't made her proud. It had simply given her more room to be kind. Years later, Maya watched a young trainee repair a car patiently for an elderly man who couldn't pay. She smiled. The cycle continued. On her office shelf sat a worn timing belt from that old Cadillac, framed like a trophy. A reminder that sometimes life takes away a job, so it can give you a purpose. A reminder that the world may not reward kindness immediately, but it never forgets it. Moral of the story: never be ashamed of kindness. Character is worth more than wealth. Doing the right thing may cost you, but it also shapes your destiny. Help people when you can. You never know who is watching. The world tests hearts before it opens doors. If this story touched you, don't just scroll. Support real, powerful storytelling. Like the video, comment your favorite moment. Subscribe to Momentum Stories, because the kindness you share today may return to you in ways you never imagined.